when learning the guitar, what should we prioritize? Well, whatever you learn must contain these 3 ingredients that I'm going to share with you now. If you do this, you will succeed. If you don't, it's going to belly flop and it's going to sting. Number 1, you got to want to do it. So if it's a piece of music or an exam or whatever it is, it's got to be something that you genuinely, deeply want to do. Seems obvious, doesn't it? Now, there are going to be certain drills that we all have to do in order to unlock the skills to do the things that we want to do, okay? And that's just too bad. You're going to have to do it whether you like it or not. And occasionally, you're going to really want to play a particular piece, but you're not quite ready yet to do that because you haven't developed the skills enough to play that piece. But there's a slightly simpler piece that does have those skills within it, those techniques, and it gives you a chance to actually develop the techniques because it's more achievable for you. Now, you might not like that simpler song that helps you develop the techniques, but tough, because you're going to have to do it. So excluding the drills and songs and pieces that unlock new skills or techniques or levels, you're going to have to pick things you actually want to do. Now, that's just point 1. Point number 2 is you have to actually be willing to do it, okay? Now, you're not going to be able to play Thunderstruck if you're practicing 10 minutes a day, 4 days a week. It's not going to happen. Or if you do learn it, you're probably going to end up learning it wrong, okay? So if you're going to do something like that, it's going to be more like an hour, 5 days per week if you're going to actually do it properly with precision. So you have to actually be willing to do it. So if you're not willing to practice an hour, 5 days a week, you're going to have to choose a different goal. So potentially something like Smoke on the Water. You could do a version of Smoke on the Water, practicing 10 minutes a day, 4 days a week. It wouldn't be the advanced version, but you'd be able to learn a version of that. So first of all, you've got to want to do it. We all like the idea of certain things, but it doesn't mean we're actually willing to do it. You know, you go to the gym and you see somebody doing a muscle up and you're like, oh, wow, I want to do that. And then you say, how do you do it? They go, well, I never eat any junk food. I never sit down and watch TV. I'm always in bed by 8:30. I'm in the gym by 5. And you're like, okay, I like the idea of this, but I'm sorry. I like, you know, hanging out with my friends and this, that, and the other. And actually, I'm not willing to do it, okay? I'd love to be able to go into the gym and do a big muscle up and, you know, look like Tarzan swinging through the trees, but actually, it ain't gonna happen. So I like the idea of it, but I'm not willing to do that, okay? So first of all, we've got to want to do it. Secondly, we've got to be willing to do it. And then we've got to be able to do it. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, let's look at the song Eruption by Eddie Van Halen. That could be one of the hardest guitar pieces ever written, maybe. Debatable. Will a beginner be able to play Eruption? No. You might get somebody who's gone on YouTube and had a go and who thinks they can do it because they think they're doing what the guy on YouTube is telling them to do, but they're probably making loads of mistakes that they don't know that they're making. If the foundations of the house are not built, the walls and the roof are going to collapse. A house has to be built on strong foundations. It is not appropriate for a beginner to try that. Whether they want to or whether they're willing to, if you're not able to, it's going to collapse. So as a complete beginner, you are not going to be able to play Eruption. Let's just accept that right now, even if you want to and you're willing to. What you will be able to do, though, within about 3 weeks, you'll be able to play Bad to the Bone. That's pretty cool. And within about 4 or 5 weeks, you'll be able to play Smoke on the Water and Seven Nation Army. And these are great songs. So, you know, obviously, I do water them down a little bit so that beginners can actually do it, but no one will really be able to tell the difference. People will hear it and go, oh, wow, dude, that's Smoke on the Water. Cool. Okay. And you're much better off playing something correct with the right form, the right posture, and the right technique, and getting it 100% right. Something simple, 100% right, and creating a really powerful, dynamic, expressive sound than playing Eruption wrong. Because a trained musician walking past will be like, yeah, that's completely incorrect. Anyone who's had any kind of musical training will know that it's wrong. And, listen, your classmates, some of your classmates have had piano lessons since the age of 5, but they didn't tell you. They'll know. They'll be able to spot it instantly. Some of them have been playing the violin since the age of 8, but they didn't tell you. They're going to know. Some of them are going to be having guitar lessons with me, and they're going to know, okay? So it's better to learn a simple thing and play it correctly. I think me and my friend actually won a competition by playing very, very simple pieces of music well. And our competitors were playing very advanced stuff, but it was stuff the crowd didn't know and the crowd couldn't sing along to. Okay, I did smash out quite big solos in All Along the Watchtower, but ultimately it's a 3-chord song that people know, okay? And I think we did things like, what else did we do? We did songs that people could sing along to. It was a long time ago. And so everybody recognized it. They could sing along with it. They felt included. And then I think some of the competitors did some very, very impressive stuff. Very, very, very advanced music, but people didn't know it. So they weren't actually that impressed. They didn't feel like they were part of it. So you're better off actually learning a 3-chord song that people know all the words to and they can actually get involved. People are going to be way more impressed by hearing something they recognize than seeing you playing behind the back of your head and this, that, and the other, because they might just think you're a show-off, and that actually has the opposite effect of what you want. So you're better off learning a simple piece of music correctly than learning a really advanced piece wrong, because the other thing that will happen if you learn a really advanced piece that you're not ready for is you'll build all these bad habits that you won't know that you're building, and it will take ages to then unpick the bad habits. Whereas if you just start by playing properly with things that you're actually able to do and you build those foundations, it will actually be very, very quick before you do start learning more advanced pieces, because if the foundations of the house are strong, then the walls will come up quite fast, and then the roof will come on quite quickly, and then the tiles and all the rest of it will be there within no time. Do you understand what I'm saying here? Get the foundations right, everything else will start to work quite smoothly. Sometimes you meet quite experienced musicians who've been playing a long time, but their foundations are shaky, and it doesn't help them. Someone who's been self-taught for 30 years and has got all sorts of mistakes and blind spots and bad habits, it takes a lot longer for me to get them to the same place where I could get a beginner to in 6 months, because the beginner doesn't have all those bad habits to scrape off. So the net result is going to be much better if you swallow your pride and get really, really good a very, very simple song, because then that will carry over into the next song, and that will carry over because you get used to doing things right and effectively, and your confidence will build because you're not making mistakes all the time. Cool.